My personal trainer AI coded a web application for his training sessions. He wanted me to subscribe to his web app, so I had to fill out my password to subscribe. I asked him which encryption algorithm he used for passwords. He didn't know. I asked him if it was a one-way or a two-way encryption for passwords. He didn't know. I asked him if the passwords were encrypted at all. He didn't know. Is the login rate limited or flood protected? Is it protected against SQL injections, AI prompt injections? Is it protected against cross-site scripting? And this is exactly the misconception with AI. People underestimate or overestimate what AI can do. The application for my trainer is 100% getting hacked sooner or later. AI seems to do the right thing, but that doesn't mean that it actually does the right thing. According to McKinsey, only 5% of companies see a significant impact on their bottom line. Another study asked senior business executives in the US, UK, Germany and Australia. 90% of CEOs said that AI doesn't impact employment or productivity. And 48% of executives in this survey say that AI adoption has been a disappointment. Only 29% said that they have seen a significant return on investment. And 67% of executives say that their company has suffered a security breach because of AI. Only 6% of users that tried Microsoft Copilot AI want to use the product after the trial has expired. And Amazon lost 120,000 orders due to an AI mishap, which by the way was already the second incident in a year. These are all shocking numbers, yet nobody seems to care. In my opinion, all these problems stem from two things. First of all, FOMO, the fear of missing out, taking irresponsible risk, putting humans and even the company at risk. The Amazon outages were 100% foreseeable, 100% stupidity, and yet Amazon keeps doing it. And the second one is misunderstanding AI, what it can and cannot do. And like all new technologies, this is a learning process. When microwaves first came out, people put cats in microwaves, eggs, metal pans. Now we know better. The same for AI. We still have to learn what the technology can and cannot do. To illustrate how this works, I'm going to draw a race track. And let's assume that this is a car and I want to go from point A to point B up here. With traditional programming, I would put the car on the street and I would drive. And at this point over here, I have to take a left turn. So I say to the computer, go 90 degrees to the left. Then over here, I have to turn to the right. And over here I have to turn to the right again, and over here I have to turn to the left again. So the instructions for the program are drive, go left, go right, go right, go left. And this is why it is precise. Every step is programmed by the programmer who understands how a computer works. When you run a certain list of commands, left or right, it always gives the same outcome. But AI works differently. I set a goal, reach the end of the track for example, then you get 100 points. This is 0 points, this is 100 points. I would put the car on the street and let AI do its thing. And it will figure out itself what it needs to do. So it starts to drive and it goes right here. But at this point I would penalize it for taking the wrong turn, so I would deduct 10 points. I would put the car on the street and over here it now takes a left turn and I would deduct 10 points. I would do it again and now it starts to drive through and now it goes over here. It crashes into the wall over here, so I deduct 10 points. We start over again, we drive, and now it starts to take a left turn. And it drives over here and it crashes over here. So now I deduct 10 points. The goal is to get 100 points, but every time when something goes wrong, I deduct points. But only if it goes through the maze without losing any points, so it gets 100 points, then it has the right outcome. But in the meantime, I can still deduct a couple of points. For example, over here, when it takes the term too sharp, I can deduct 5 points or 2 points or 1 point, for example. And this way, by doing this process over and over and over again and starting this whole process from the start every time, after 100, 200, 500, 1000, 10,000 times, it gets the route with the most optimal results. And maybe it never reaches that 100 points, but it might reach 80 points or 95 points or 90 points. But if out of 10,000 times the 90 points is the closest to those 100 points, it is the best route. And this process of going this route and constantly deducting points, that is called training a model. And to become reliable, you need to do it at least 1,000, 10,000 times. Slowly but surely, the AI starts to figure out what it should and shouldn't do. AI constantly calculates with every step of the way the probability what is the best outcome next. The best outcome is the highest probability, and that is the decision that it makes. Also, in the case of the track, going left, for example, would be 26% and going right would be 74%. So let's take right. This method is also used to make YouTube work. The AI looks at topics that you watch on YouTube and serves you more videos like this. The more videos you watch, the better the YouTube suggestions will become, because you train the model. Some of the parameters it uses to determine what is wrong and right is: how long do you watch a video, what videos do you give a like and which ones you don't, on what kind of thumbnails do you click, etc, etc, etc. But this method might not be the best outcome, because the car can be still damaged, for example, along the way. And to improve the results, you can do one of two things. Number one is to train the model with more data. So instead of repeating the course 10,000 times, let's repeat it 50,000 times or 100,000 times. But you run into a problem when you can't do more training. When you've scraped all the information on the entire internet, like OpenAI did, there is no more information to train on. You literally have all the information out there. So you can't really improve the model. The second thing you can do is tweak the parameters of what is right and what is wrong. But even then, there are slight variations in the outcome. I don't always get the same result when I put the car on the track. AI can still crash the car, although the likelihood is very small. But all AI in the world has an issue. We don't know exactly what is happening inside the model. Even programmers who made and trained the model don't know exactly what is happening inside. We can't exactly open the skull of the AI to see what decisions it makes. Well, yeah, you can, but then you see ones and zeros that don't make any sense. So we don't know why it does certain things. AI is what we call a black box. You give it an input, we get an output, but don't know exactly what happens in between. But what happens when we change the track and the model doesn't know what that track looks like, because it hasn't been trained on that track yet? So it starts to guess, it starts to do something, but is it good or not? It doesn't know yet. And we often don't know either when we ask a chatbot, for example. That's why we ask the AI in the first place. When the outcome is undesired, we call it AI hallucination. The AI makes stuff up, but in reality it doesn't make stuff up. It is some kind of amalgamation of some training data in the memory, but it doesn't make sense to us as humans. On the racetrack, the probability to go right is, for example, 2%, and the probability of going left is 1%. Yeah, it takes the right, it hallucinates the right. But that doesn't mean that that is the right outcome. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. When I ask Gemini for a recipe for a pizza from Draconia, which is a completely made up city in Italy by me, it gives me a recipe. Instead of saying I don't have that information, it hallucinates a completely made up recipe. That can be a valid recipe from another pizza, or a French croissant, or the recipe to make a bomb. Although some pizzas feel like that. AI is incredibly good at spotting patterns in unstructured data, patterns that humans have a hard time to understand. But that is also its biggest weakness. By the lack of data, it starts to hallucinate. Traditional programming always gives a predictable output with a certain input, which is the reason why you can trust it. But you can't do that with AI. Traditional programming is good when you need predictability, like calculating your company revenue, for example. Cold, hard facts. AI is good at mimicking, or something like that. Therefore, AI is 9 out of 10 times a good starting point, but not a good endpoint for a predictable outcome. You can use it as a tool to get to your goal, but not use it as the finished product. I can use AI to write the first draft of this script, for example, but I need to fact check it and rewrite it to make it usable. By the way, I don't use AI because I want to bring something unique to YouTube, and the rewrite often takes longer than writing the whole script from scratch. And that is because AI is trained on patterns. It can never bring a new outcome outside of those patterns. But this is exactly what I want for my YouTube channel, my unique take. Otherwise, yeah, why bother making the video? And this is also why AI written text is always boring and flat and never revolutionary. But that unpredictability is also its strength, because if you want something like that, for example, when you want to extend an image, for example, in Photoshop, or you want to remove a background from an image, or you want to make a 4K image out of an HD image, yeah, AI is your man. Fantasizing is its thing. And sure, AI messes up here and there, and that there are a couple of pixels off on a 4K image, yeah, nobody sees that. That doesn't matter that much. And if you need to, you can fix it by hand, which is still faster than doing it yourself by hand. But the human should always be the last factor in the pipeline to give the desired results. Vibe coding in application, and vibe coding is how you call coding with AI, is the equivalent of that metal pan in the microwave. But because you don't see sparks, you assume that everything is fine. So it can't write proper programs, but it looks like it can. And what would be a useful application for that? Prototyping. When you want to sell your idea to an investor, yeah, you can make a prototype with AI, because it looks like it can do the right thing. We as humans try to humanize everything. When we see a yellow circle with 2 dots and a line, we see it as a face. When a dog sits in a funny way, it is funny because it resembles a human. We attach human-like qualities to everything, and that is also what we do with computers and with AI. That it can sound human doesn't mean it is human. When I take the example of an AI chatbot, an LLM. A chatbot looks at the sentence structures in a certain context. When I take the pizza example, for example, for every word that it spews out, it looks at what is the most likely next word in the context of pizzas. But it has no idea of what it says, nor has it any idea what the implications are for putting inedible ingredients in the pizza. When an AI chatbot starts a sentence, it doesn't know how it ends. It only knows the likelihood of the next word. It's a machine. It doesn't think. According to OpenAI's own research, their ChatGPT 5 chatbot has an accuracy rate of only 22%. In other words, it's almost 80% of the time wrong. You can better ask a politician than a chatbot because you are more likely to get a truthful answer. And the answer of the chatbot might look right because it has formulated English sentences, but that doesn't mean it is right. When I take the example from the beginning of this video with my personal trainer who vibe coded the AI, it looks right, but it doesn't mean it is right. And to see if you're humanizing AI as well, I'm going to show you an example of Grok. Someone asked Grok if it would unalive a human when it has the chance. And I'm warning you, it has some explicit language in here because it goes into detail what it would do. Please pause the video if you want to read it. If this was unsettling, you are humanizing AI too. Because it is unsettling because of your own human emotions. The computer only has ones and zeros. It has no idea what it is saying. It is only predicting the next word and the next word and the next word after that in the sentence. AI is just not ready for day-to-day use. More research is needed to make AI useful for the applications we currently use it for. I'm naming a couple of examples. For example, the stop button problem. We give the AI the goal of wanting to survive, because otherwise it will shut itself down and it is useless to us. But we also want a big red stop button for AI when it does things we don't want to, and if things go wrong we want to hit that stop button. But those goals completely collide with each other. Do you give AI the knowledge of the stop button? Because then it will prevent you from using that stop button because it wants to survive. If you don't give AI the knowledge of the stop button and you use that stop button only once, then it will learn from that. And then it will prevent you from using that stop button next time. And to me that seems pretty crucial. Another problem scientists haven't figured out yet is the problem of data poisoning. When you train AI on, let's say, websites for example, all websites have to say the same thing to give a reliable result. But when one or multiple sources contain wrong information, this skews the reliability of the model. And since models are often trained on other models, this problem exacerbates exponentially. Multiple studies were done on this topic and all have the same conclusion. Only a couple of poisoned samples are needed to invalidate a whole model. One study in the medical field decreased the reliability of the model by 60%. And I do not want to be the patient with a life-threatening disease on the wrong end of that number. And another really big problem with AI is the lack of morals. AI has never lived and does not know what it is to have a body of flesh and blood. It only cares about the outcome, the goal you set for the AI. It does not care about the human at the other end of the screen. AI has no trouble resulting in blackmail or even unalivement. And I've just mentioned a couple of examples here, but there are a lot more. AI requires a healthy doses of skepticism, and at this moment it is rushed and overhyped. It needs more research and it has glaring security and privacy issues. Companies fall over one another to bring the next, often useless, new AI feature in the hope that it will catch on. More and more useless features for the fear of being left out, and thus they take incredibly irresponsible risks. AI in its current form is mainly a hollow marketing buzzword, because it rarely lives up to the hype. If you hear the word AI when it comes to a new feature, you know it's going to suck. However, AI in its current forms has some useful features, but that is in 95% of the cases not what is used for right now. It has huge trustworthiness issues. It fails at the most basic things like, facts. Or reading a clock, for example. We as humans really need to take a step back, take inventory at what AI can and cannot do, what it's good at and what it's not good at, and go from there. But AI, regretfully, is here to stay whether we like it or not.